Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 19 of the Crushing Through Life podcast with your hosts, Rob and Jim. Visit us on anchor.fm/crushing through life or follow us on instagram.com/crushing through life. It is May 19th, 2021. It is not May 19th, 2021. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's episode 19.
It is episode 19. Let's just write that. Let's just correct that real quick on the show notes. It is episode 19, but it's May 11th, 2021. And as always, let's start off with today's quote. Be practical as well as generous. Be practical as well. Let's start over 5 more times. Be practical as well as generous in your ideals. Keep your eyes on the stars, but remember to keep your feet on the ground. Theodore Roosevelt.
Teddy.
Fantastic quote. Teddy. Rough start to today's episode, but that's okay. We move forward.
You got 8 days before you can do better on the actual 19th.
So last episode, I talked about Bruce Lee's quote, and I mentioned, "Be water, my friend," to which you didn't hear the quote. So I actually dug that up for you. I wanted to read that to you now, and hopefully do it justice this time. Oh my god, I can't talk today.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah. Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless like water. If you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. That is Bruce Lee's quote.
Very good. 2 quotes.
There we go.
And also, I have to say, the delivery of this one, much better than the Teddy Roosevelt delivery. So things are already looking up.
He's my hero, Bruce.
You're being water. Use it in
So I finally finished the backlog of episodes for YouTube.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, they're all up. Well done.
But dealing with some tech issues on the video podcast for I think it was 15, 16 that are up there right now. You mentioned after I uploaded them that there were the audio sync goes off, I think like halfway or towards the end of the episode or throughout the episode. And I was like, what? Are you serious? I had to go back in and check, and I was like, sure enough, I was like, oh god.
Yeah, at first it's always weird with audio sync. I swear, and we're gonna lose a potential sponsor for life here, but I swear Amazon Prime is horrible at sync. I think it's off all the time, and it drives me nuts. So I don't know if other people are watching it and like maybe it's distracting to them. But when I saw it at first, I'm like, it's not so bad. And then I think it does get worse as you get to the tail end of the episode, especially the one where I was showing the cards. So it's like, noticeable for me where I'm like, oh, this is almost as bad as Amazon Prime. Am I alone in that? Have you ever watched Amazon Prime and thought?
I only watch Netflix. I have Amazon Prime. I think I've only watched Amazon Prime to watch the Borat movie, and that was it. Like I haven't seen any other Amazon Prime shows or anything like that.
We watch stuff on there all the time.
Yeah, I should probably get into that.
We it'll be like a certain movie that we both love, and we can't find it on anything else. And Amazon Prime seems to always have it. But we're currently watching Man in the High Castle.
Nice.
Yeah. Pretty cool concept to that one.
But yeah, like I mean, dealing with all these tech issues, I mean, it definitely brings a benefit. I've talked about in the previous podcast before. I am working on creating a YouTube channel based on tech security or IT security, and I'm learning all these things as I'm working on the podcast first because at first it was just audio, but then when we decided to create a YouTube channel because that makes sense to gain a larger audience. I now have to edit these videos as well. So I am diving into Adobe Premiere as well as Adobe Audition, and then dealing with these like audio sync issues and echo cancellation and all that stuff. It's actually been a great learning experience. It's as frustrating as it is, that is the silver lining, is that there's such a great knowledge out there, or great community when it comes to creating content for social media, whether it be podcasting or video for YouTube and all that. And, you type anything into YouTube these days, how to fix echo cancellation, Adobe Audition, podcasts, whatever. And it's just the more you learn, the better you get, and I find that my workflow is getting way better as well. Um, once I have something down packed, I can just replicate that workflow throughout episodes and just dig my way through, um, and get everything fixed up. So, uh,
When you're learning that kind of thing, are you
yeah.
so everybody learns differently. How do you need to like could somebody dictate to you and show you, or do you need to like physically, are you more hands-on learner, I guess, when you're kind of going through and like tinkering and figuring things out? Like how what works best for you?
I do find that I tend to do online training way better than in classroom. Um, like I love watching a video, pausing it, and then doing it.
Okay.
So I guess it would be hands on, right?
Yeah, it's pretty
Um,
you like because you're and that's the benefit I think of why an online tutorial, the university of YouTube, I've heard it being referred to is because you can just pause it and you can play that part 40 times as long as it takes you to understand it, and do it yourself. Like you said, you just pause it and you keep going. So I agree with you on that. I'm so hands on. I need, especially like when we're in. I think I brought it up before actually. Like when I'm cooking in the kitchen and Jess is like, "Here, let me show you how to do it." Like, I'm not gonna remember how to do that if I don't physically do it myself. So I guess it's,
yeah,
kind of similar.
yeah,
That's really cool
absolutely,
though, and you're right. All those tools are right at your fingertips. You just got to know what to, how to extract them.
for sure. Actually, tomorrow I've mentioned this before as well. I'm starting my course with Seneca.
That starts tomorrow.
So I'm starting it tomorrow at 5 o'clock after work. So tomorrow, and then the following day, it's going to be brutal for me. We have to do labs as well. So
Oh,
it's going to be interesting because it's kind of like in a classroom setting. We're all part of like a Microsoft Teams channel. And we're all collaborating with this teacher who's going to teach us Microsoft Azure, their cloud platform, and all that. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fun.
yeah, that's pretty sweet. Like, are you excited for it? Because it's probably been a while since you've had this sort of.
Very excited for it, and very excited to actually write the exam to have it. It's such like it's called Azure Fundamentals. It's like the first exam that you get when you learn Microsoft's cloud platform. Um, so yeah, and just to learn something new, and especially something that applies to work because I'm in that platform all day. So if there's something that I can pick up on, that I can utilize in work too, that's more power to us as well.
Right on, man.
Yeah. So man, yesterday I completed 100 workouts in our daily workout group. So that's pretty awesome. And I
100 on the
must say
calendar year.
that what's that?
100 on the calendar year. Well done.
Yeah, 100 on the calendar year.
Very well done. To
But like
83 maybe.
I must say yesterday when I saw you guys post your numbers before me, because I was on the couch at the time. And I was contemplating whether or not to get that workout in, and it was like, I gotta do it. These guys got all these.
Yeah, you're the only wimp to not do it. So
Yeah,
at that point.
yeah, yeah. Especially after the Mother's Day that I had,
Oh,
which
tell me
was
about
just
that.
oh, dude, jam packed with sugar.
Oh, yeah. You gotta work it all off.
So, so I woke up my wife with chocolate chip banana pancakes.
Well
My
done.
son helped me. And then I took, after waking up early, letting her sleep in, made breakfast for everybody. I took my annual um Mother's Day nap.
Oh, yeah. The old annual Mother's Day nap.
So so my wife
"Thanks for
comes out to
sleeping in,
me.
Terry. I'm back to bed."
She actually suggested it, to be honest.
She's a
And she
saint.
actually made the joke, which I didn't realize at first because apparently I took a nap last year
Okay,
on
so it's
Mother's
become
Day.
the annual.
So it's become a tradition. So I was exhausted, tired. Um and we were drinking the night before, and I let her sleep in, made her pancakes and all that, and I was tired. I was gonna clean up the kitchen and all that. She's like, why don't you go take a nap? That's how awesome my wife is, by the way.
You didn't even clean
Sh
it up? No one likes doing the dishes.
you know what? Actually, I think I did clean it up. I can't remember now. Fuck. Yeah,
Yeah, it
I can't
was
remember.
2 days ago, so
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, we started a new tradition in the Demoro household. In my household is just like Mother's Day nap for me.
That's
But yeah, it was packed full of sugar. So then when I woke up and she made cake, she made her own. She made her own Mother's Day cake
what time of the
with
day is
Nico.
this? You guys have had chocolate
This
chip
was I
pancakes,
woke up
a
at
nap, and now
no. I woke up at 1 o'clock. It was like
from the
midday.
nap,
Yeah,
you probably
yeah.
woke up to the smell of delicious cake.
It was amazing.
Mm.
It was amazing.
What kind of cake?
Uh, birthday confetti, like confetti cake, birthday
Oh,
cake or whatever. Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Then later that day we made tacos, and then later that night we got back into the vodka bottle that we had, and we decided to make cookies that night. So it was just literally a sugar-filled day. I didn't
That's
end
a
up
lot of
seeing
making.
my
That's
mother.
fun though.
I didn't end up seeing my mother because I actually saw her the night before, or sorry,
Okay.
the weekend before, and I actually gave her our Mother's Day gift to her, which was like a Google Photos printout book, which she absolutely loved. It was just pictures of our kid, and us together as a family. But I couldn't see her this weekend, um, because my wife actually had a doctor's appointment that required anesthesia. So, you know, I pretty much have to take care of her this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Everything's fine. There's
yeah,
no major issues and all that. But she wasn't up to going out. She was kind of exhausted from
yeah, it takes a lot out of
the
you.
visit. Yeah, yeah,
I hear anyway. I've never had it,
yeah.
but I hear what it does.
If she ever hears this episode, she's gonna laugh so hard. But man, I'm so happy to get back into my body workouts. It's been fantastic. Again, working out with my kids has been great. Starting to get some tone back into my biceps, which I've noticed in the mirror, which is awesome.
Very nice.
That's a great feeling.
Very definitely good for the confidence.
Yeah.
Obviously the weight is an easy thing to kind of keep track of and see
Mhm.
the progress. But I guess when you're seeing, definition after a workout and when you're not having cake, tacos, chocolate chip pancakes, vodka and cookies all in one week, you'll probably see even more definition.
Yeah, it's definitely been like we've gone through some stresses in our life, and it's mainly been health, work, and I actually wanted to talk about this in this episode. This is the reason, one of my main topics of this episode is dealing with debt. So my wife and I, we have debt that we're trying to climb out of. We've had it for a while, and before we had Nico, I used to live with my parents. Uh, my wife and I used to live with my parents, and we were actually planning on living in the basement of my parents' house. They're renovating the basement and all that, and it was going to be an apartment for us to live in. So during the time, we were planning on starting a family. So we ended up purchasing a brand new SUV. I got a 2017 Kia Sportage. I purchased this vehicle in 2016. Uh, of course, you may have remembered. But I'm still paying car payments on it, and it's actually rather expensive. And I'm starting to
Mm.
realize that I should probably sell this car so I can get more cash flow back and get rid of my debt, which is currently sitting on my line of credit. So I have a line of credit that I moved my credit card debt towards to get lower interest fees and all that.
Mhm.
And I thought this would be a great topic to talk about on the podcast because we haven't touched finance yet. Um, and there's a great subreddit for any Canadians out there and Americans. Uh, for the Canadians, there's Canada Personal Finance. If you Google Reddit Canada Personal Finance, you'll find it, or just Personal Finance for the Americans, you'll find it as well. And on the side of the subreddit, they have a Wikipedia page with all this great information of what you should do and how you should prioritize your money. The number one thing being reducing and budgeting, obviously. Any monthly bills that you may have, like you mentioned the other podcast here. That's another reason why I brought it up is because you switched from
Oh,
Bell to
yeah,
Rogers,
Bell to Rogers.
save some money there. Um, and just getting a handle of where you're sitting at. So recently I've been like, okay, I want to get rid of my debt. I want to be debt free. That's like my main goal. I think now that I've gotten a handle of my career and my health, I really want to take this next, I would say, pillar in my life. I'll put that into focus and fix that.
It's a good
Right.
goal.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's only going to benefit us more. I think it's going to benefit us to, potentially purchase a home in the future. You should. No one likes that. No one, and like I have this again. Like I have this car. I have $15,000 left on the auto loan, right, through my bank. The interest rate is not that bad. It's 2.69. We're keeping up with the payments and all that. But if I can get rid of that car, and which by the way, right now is a great time to sell. It's actually seller's market right now during this pandemic. Um, and I can use that money to pay off the loan, then have more cash flow. I'm working from home anyway, and
Right.
I'm trying to decide whether or not I should get rid of it, and I've landed on selling it. And the main reason why I was going back and forth is like we have a child, so it'd be nice to have two cars in case of emergencies. What if I go back to work? Blah blah blah. But my wife works from home currently. Once I do go back to work, I'll just drive the 2012 Mazda that we have, right? Use that car. It's more efficient on gas. It's way cheaper. The car that we do have, the 2017 Kia Sportage, it's a great SUV. I love it, but it's got some issues. It's had a couple engine recalls, potential like there's an engine fire recall that happened recently,
Oh,
and there was
that's
like this
great.
big lawsuit for it and all that. Yeah, so I was like, "Ugh," I'm like losing faith in my vehicle.
Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
I got the software update for that. Like I did the recall and all. I'm all up. It's
Right.
all up to date.
Yeah,
But
you're
I'm
pretty
just
good
like,
with that kind of stuff. We were talking about the Scotch Guard couch today, actually. Like, you're always good at, make if they owe it to you, then make sure you get it.
I I'd like to take care of the things I have. My computer that I have, just a side tangent. My computer that I have here, it's from I built in 2009, and I've upgraded it, and it still runs to this day. Like I purchased a brand new CPU for it like a few months ago from AliExpress. That was $5,000 back in 2013. I bought it for 25 bucks off AliExpress, and I overclocked it.
25 bucks. Whoa.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's crazy how fast tech depreciates, as much as cars as well. So,
Yeah.
anyways, buddy, I think I'm gonna get rid of my car. If I get rid of my car, I sell it. I get rid of the loan. Then I have $565, which is that's my car payments every month back in, which will just eat towards my line of credit, and I can get rid of that balance and start saving money. Um,
It's such a weight, any sort of debt that you have ever. It's always in the back of your head,
mhm.
or or it's in the front, the forefront, and it just weighs you down. I find
It's been weighing me down a lot, man. It's actually been weighing me down emotionally, like mentally. It's very tough to deal with because I feel like I can't get ahead. The main thing that scares me is that I want to build a proper emergency fund. I only have like a few, I would say like maybe 2.5 months of an emergency fund built up. Like, God forbid I lose my job or whatever, I lose my
Mhm.
income saved up that we could survive on, right? I want more than that. And then like save for a down payment to a home. And we can stop renting, build equity and all that. Whenever that happens, like I don't even know where I can't even afford a place to live in Ontario anyway. But yeah,
It's crazy, man.
it's pretty wild.
So we're actually, I don't know if I've said this on the podcast, but because Jess is working for Amazon, when all this is over and we have to go back, or she has to go back to the office, we're supposed to move down there. And apparently, Seattle is similar prices to Toronto, except it's in USD. So
Oh,
we're going to get gouged,
wow.
unless the Canadian dollar is stronger. But right now,
Right.
we're basically going to lose, like 20% of any money that we have by switching over. And then on top of that, the rent and houses there are super expensive because we were looking into it. Just got this job. She started doing the interview process uh, almost 2 years ago, or like 18, 19 months ago, which is crazy
Hmm.
that we haven't. I've still never even been to the city, and I'm supposed to go moving there. Um, but yeah, so that I think about that all the time, and the housing market here is not great. We were really lucky when we got our place here. We've actually had it for 5 years now, but like we pay condo fees every month. I think it's 490, 415. I don't know. It's in the fours somewhere, and we
Yeah.
pay every single month for condo fees. However, since we moved in, they redid the roof, they redid the front siding, I think they did the driveway. In the
Oh,
winter, they snow, like, they shovel the snow, they do snow removal, they do the sidewalk, they mow the lawn, anything that happens in the exterior of the house, they handle. So, although the money adds up month to month, we've actually been pretty lucky in the fact that all of that stuff is relatively new. So when we do have to move to Seattle and we sell this place,
your values
all
up.
those things are,
Yeah.
hopefully going to help us
Yeah.
out.
So you're seeing your dollar being put to work there with your monthly fee of your condo fee. That's great, man.
Yeah, and last year when we thought we were moving, my aunt came over and kind of gave us some tips. She's a real estate agent and very, very detail oriented, and it was kind of exciting to go through and look what we had to do. We actually, we fixed up the whole basement before we thought we were going to move, and now we're kind of in this zone of do we want to redo certain things, or is it not going to be worth the money because someone's just going to want to buy the house and we're not going to see, like, let's say we spend X amount on the kitchen, but someone who wants the house is just going to redo it themselves. Like, why did we waste that money? So, it's kind of tough when we have to budget for that, especially
Right.
moving, and everything's up in the air. So, like you said, with an emergency fund, who knows? It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
safe to, and I can understand obviously wanting more reserves. Like when a pandemic happens, and like we've talked about a number of times, you and I are lucky enough to work from home, but what about all the other people that are living off CERB and that kind of thing, right?
Hmm.
So can totally change. And I did want to brush upon the fact that you're selling this the car, and you now have one car. A little bit different with a kid, I would assume, as Jess and I
Hmm.
don't have any, but we went from having a car to having not a car.
Right.
We are carless, and it is amazing. Like our my in-laws will come in or every once in a while, and or we order groceries or we do good food,
Hmm.
but we don't need it. We don't pay for gas. We don't pay for whatever. We walk to the store. We actually walk to the grocery store a ton. It's pretty sweet, and neither of us are spending any money, and it's not like we can go anywhere anyways. So. Uh, it definitely can add up in that regard.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And that certainly does put things into perspective. Cars are just such a terrible investment, dude. My I guess if I could give advice to anyone out there is never purchase a new vehicle. The only reason why I did it, and I shouldn't even done it in the first place, because even if I was living with my parents, that was the reason why living with my parents. Even if I was living with my parents, it was still an expensive vehicle. Like they weren't going to charge us rent and all that, and they were going to help us out, and it's fine. It's in I think it's in the Italian culture, like you live with your parents as much as possible, well to your 40s and all that. But it's obviously it wasn't working out. The basement, the reason why we moved out is because we had a child, and the basement apartment wasn't being finished due to unforeseen circumstances. Like my mom had some health issues with vertigo, and my dad had a work issue and all that. So it just got postponed, and it's finished now. It looks fantastic. But it was, since we moved out, it's been revamped to a more open concept space, which I'm way more happy about for my parents. Um, I'm not one to ask my parents for money. I don't like that. I think that I should figure problems out on my own, and um I'm never one to ask for handouts.
Mhm.
So like I prefer to take on responsibility for problems that I've created for myself. So if this car is a problem for me, and getting rid of it is gonna be way better for me down the long term, I think that's the way to go, man. And I actually mentioning this subreddit, I actually asked this question to people like, here's my current situation, here's my debt level, should I sell this car? And right away I got downvoted to all hell. It was like, this guy is an asshole, what is he talking about? Get rid of the car, man, what are you, stupid?
Well,
It's just
like,
so obvious.
it's tough to let go of things, and as much as I kind of agree with you. I think ego can get in the way, and that's why finances are such a
Yeah,
tricky thing.
right,
Um, it's a tricky subject to bring up to, especially your parents. You want them to be proud of you and not be disappointed that you have to ask for money at any time, no matter how old you are.
right.
It's there's some sort of like it's partial ego, I think. So
I
it's
think,
really tough, but
yeah.
they love you, and I don't think I like having said that, um, like those people. What I was going to say is that those people on the internet, um, they don't know you, so
Mm.
they can take out everything, emotion aside, and hopefully to give you good advice. But at the same time, they're people on the internet, so
Yeah,
yeah,
I think that's what I wanted. I wanted the get rid of the emotion, hear the raw numbers. I told a little bit of a personal story, and then they were like, "Yeah, just get rid of the car. Get rid of the car, kill the debt, and then you become debt free. You're more cash positive, and makes way more sense." But going back to your point there, where we're talking about finances and talking about money in general,
no stress.
I think it's stressful, but I think it's also considered, I guess, taboo would be the word. Or there's trying to find another word for it, but like I guess taboo. Like people don't like to talk about it. Is
Mhm.
what I'm trying to say, and I think that's actually not like that's actually what you'd not like. You don't want to do that. I think it should be open. Like anyone should be able to talk about money. I think it can be private about the numbers that you may have or whatever. If that's something that you want to um not dwell or indulge on, but I guess that's why these subreddits here are fantastic, because you're anonymous, right? You're just someone on the internet
Yeah.
that you can talk about your personal finances and make better decisions and get advice from people. And I do highly recommend anyone go check out this subreddit. It's fantastic. Their Wikipedia alone is just a wealth of information. I actually have it printed up here.
Right.
It's a big like list of to-dos. Like it's literally like a flow chart of like what to do with your money. It's
It's nice
awesome.
that obviously people are, if they're in a spot to give advice, that they are doing it and not just, they're sort of giving back. And I think, to your point about that people should talk more openly about finances, I think a lot of the time, especially now, everyone portrays a life, not everybody, but if you go to Instagram, everyone portrays this life that, the people that you think live these luxurious lives, a lot of the times they're in debt way worse than other people that just have 9 to 5
Sure.
jobs, and
Yeah. Yeah.
you think that you're behind, or someone could think that they're behind when really they're not, and it's all this it's all stuff that you don't need. And I think there's a bit of shame if you're admitting, um like, oh, I'm 33 and I have debt, and whatever,
Hmm.
and people don't want to openly say that because they're embarrassed. And so I think it's a really
Right.
really tough conversation that can be
Hmm.
had. And I think that's I didn't mean to cut you off when I said it, but I think that
No,
leads
that's
to
fine.
stress, where people
Yeah.
can't talk about it except for to a few people, and sometimes even to your closest family and friends. Those are the people that you don't want to admit, like, okay, I have a problem here. And that stress builds up a ton. Like, financial freedom has got to be just an insane feeling for people who have it.
Hmm.
But
Stigma was the word I was looking for.
Oh, great. Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go. That's perfect.
stigma. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, totally. I agree. And that financial freedom is something that I'm seeking out myself. Like, to say that I'm debt free would be amazing. Obviously, there's good debts and bad debts. If you have a house or whatever, like you got a mortgage, that's a good debt to
Yeah.
have. Not a brand new car that you can't afford. That's very expensive.
I did want to say, it like to your Reddit. I'm curious. Maybe you can send me the link after, because sometimes have you ever
Sure.
heard the theory that I do this all the time. So, and I live by the coin, die by the coin is how I do it. So I have a coin
Okay.
flip app because I don't always carry cash, and I'll flip a coin when Jess and I go out to dinner to get one or the other, and she does it all the time. I will live and die by the coin, whatever it is. I like that's my meal choice. That's my decision. That's whatever. I just leave it up to fate. We'll call it.
All right.
But Jess will flip the coin and then be like, I kind of wanted this. So, anyways, what I was going to say is there's a coin flip theory where, say you wanted vanilla ice cream or chocolate ice cream, you're totally 50-50, and then
Okay.
you flip it, and in the air, they actually say you make your decision because you know that you want one more than the other. So, what I'm curious about this Reddit is like the narrative that you're telling in your
Mm.
story, because it could be like if I read it without knowing that you even wrote it, you might be leaning towards one way and everyone just gently pushed you towards that. Like it's bad is what
Oh,
I'm
I
getting
see.
to, right?
Okay.
So like
Right.
um you went out of the way to post about it. So you're already hinting that this could be an option, which is great because you're asking for help. But anyways, it's kind of, sometimes the answer. It's just not an easy decision to like you might not arrive to it as quickly as possible, but you
Right.
already like have a gut instinct that this needs to be done.
Right. Yeah, it was like that, just getting over that mental barrier of like I know what the right answer is. I just need you guys to tell me and to tell and just to push me and make that decision based on numbers. Just give me like the straight, what's the fastest way to get me out of debt when, you know, like I mentioned before, I have two cars, but we're both working from home
Mhm.
during this time.
Yeah, no brainer then,
Um,
seems like
it
the
seemed
right
like a
way.
no-brainer, right? Like the faster you get, but it's like then you get over the emotion. Yeah, then there's that emotional barrier. I sunk so much money to this car. I took care of it. I babied it.
Cars are money pits, man.
It's in such a good condition. My brother says that to me all the time. Cars are a money pit, and I totally agree with him. He still drives his I think he's got a 2008 Honda Accord, you know, and I'm just like, you got it, man. You just fix that thing up, and away you go.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
funny, like, that those ones that just last forever, right?
Yeah.
But that's the danger of, now where your brother's like, this car is so old, but, if something needs to happen, where, like, eventually you have to draw the line of, like, instead of fixing, eventually you're gonna have to say bye to it, over time.
Yeah, for sure you do. That happened actually before my wife's 2012 Mazda that she has now. She had a 2003 Honda Civic that was a hand me down for my mother, and it got to the point where it's way too expensive to fix. Like it was, anytime it rained, you open up the door, and the floor is wet, so
Oh
that's a
my god,
problem.
that is
The
it.
heat doesn't work. The
Luckily,
AC
it's
doesn't work.
Canada.
And it needed new brakes, it needed new tires. Dude, it was just like, "Get rid of this thing."
That
It was
sounds
so
like a
bad.
lot. How did you legally how could you legally drive that thing? Needed new tires, the steering wheel was half on, there was no muffler. I mean, this like,
Oh,
the heat, heat and AC and that kinda stuff, like, heat maybe not so much, but AC is a luxury. Brakes, you gotta have those.
yeah, definitely gotta have some brakes for
"Oh, you
sure.
want brakes with this automobile? Ooh, that'll cost you."
Oh, and the suspension was gone, so any, like, little bump you hit, good luck.
Post that one
Your
on
ass
Reddit, see
your
what they
ass is
say.
killing.
"You guys think I should get rid of this car or keep it?" I wonder what they'll say.
Uh, so, buddy, you got a new mic, man.
Yeah, so, I, ordered this on Amazon after, checking out your cousin's, YouTube post
That's
and,
right, Future Space Collective.
Future Space Collective, and it was pretty easy. I watched him do it. It was, it's pretty nice. I like it. Hopefully it sounds better to all the ears out there. And
It certainly does to me, so that's a bonus.
two of them work. But yeah, so it's nice. I mean, I still got the old headset on, but I'm not using this thing anymore.
Right.
But yeah, pretty cool. I'm liking it so far. It's got a nice arm here that attaches. So, um, I've been flirting with the idea for a long time, about streaming poker on Twitch. and I don't know if I'm gonna do it or not. Yeah, I go through these days where I'm like, oh, I really want to do that. I think the
Yeah.
community is cool, but at the same time, it also seems like it's more entertainment. And if I actually just want to win cash, then I should just focus on playing. So I go back and forth, and I think if I really, really, really try hard to put in some work and be great, and not just better than average, um, then that's when I would be in more of a position to do it. But then other people that I talk to, they're like, just do it, man. If you want to do it, just do it. So, I like I said, I flip flop on it. But I think, anyways, for now, I'll just be using it for the podcast. Maybe I'll do it for some work Zoom meetings, but it kind of seems a little. I don't really need it. I guess.
I think there is just to touch on the point of whether or not you should start a Twitch, because I'm feeling that now towards my YouTube tech channel. I think we both had that project that we're just like we really want to do it, and we're just waiting on something great to happen, or we're just waiting on it to be ready.
Mm.
Reflecting back on episode one when we started the podcast, man, like it's been quite the ride, and I've learned a lot just by doing it. So, if there is like at least one comment I should say, and of course I'm a hypocrite for because I haven't started my tech channel as well because I'm finished my YouTube course. Yes, I'm still on my last section. I haven't finished that yet because I've been working on this podcast. But
Yeah, you put in a lot of work.
yeah, it's a lot of work, but like every single thing that I've done has is going to be a reflection to uh, my experience working with the podcast. So, I don't know where you're at personally with your training for poker, but I guess if I were to pick a side, it'd be on the side of like just do it, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess there's arguments to be made that I don't have to do it every time. So Sunday is the big day. Like basically for every
Mm.
Sunday the last year, I wake up at anywhere from 9 to 10 to 11, and I don't leave this chair until I'm done playing, and sometimes that could be, midnight. So it's 14 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. It's a long time to be playing, but I don't need to stream those days where I'm like, max tabling tons of stuff, but I could do it on a Wednesday night where I'm only doing, six tables, and I just, shoot the breeze with anybody who logs in. Not that I'd have too many to begin with, anyways, but, just to sort of warm up to it and be myself. And I think that's what I'm more likely to do. Um, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, I don't know. Like one day I might just be like, all right, today's the day. I do think the mic's a step in
Right.
that direction though. I want to do it for sure, but maybe, you know what? I'll be like, it's a bit kind of like when we released the podcast, little
Yeah.
self-conscious about it. Cause watching other poker streamers, every single person that goes in there is like, why did you do this? Why didn't you do that? Everyone, they're called
So the
chat
judgment is
pros.
like heavy.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
called chat pros. So, in the beginning, it'll be tougher to deal with that when I'm already self-conscious and not, totally sure of myself. So I kind of want to get to a point where I can just, flick those people off
Well,
and
it could be our group of friends, man. Like if you just do your Twitch channel, you
those
make
be
it
the
private. I don't know
worst
if you.
people to have in there.
It could be just me.
Actually, you know
Whatever.
what? Maybe I'll just start that. I'll say, hey, to my best buds, get them all in there and just berate me while I play, and then after
Like
that,
how
I
great
can
would that
handle
be?
anything.
Just
Yeah.
rip the band-aid off, Jim.
And so actually, I was talking to my father-in-law about this, and I wanted to kind of touch base on my Mother's Day. So we
Yeah.
haven't left the house too much, but we rented a car. Jess actually got her mom a new MacBook. Her old one couldn't even open, I think, Google Chrome. Like certain
Oh
websites,
wow.
like wouldn't work. It's really really old, and this thing is, I don't like, I'm not a Mac person, but it looks sweet. It's the new like rose gold. It looks awesome.
Cool.
I think she loves it. So, anyways, we drove to Square One and picked it up, and then we rented a car, and we went and saw them. We hung out with them, and it's so nice. I mean, on Mother's Day, we used to have the tradition of my mom's side of the family. We would go to I can't remember what the golf course is called. I want to say it's like Rattlesnake, or I don't know. I think it's a Clubland course.
Yeah.
Is there one called?
Yeah, I think there's one
Diamond,
called rattlesnake. Yeah,
diamond,
diamondback.
diamondback, maybe. Um,
Yeah,
anyways, so we would go there and have a it's a buffet lunch with I think we needed usually 2 or 3 tables because our family is massive with all the, you know, like with Jess and the extensions and all the cousins. My grandma and my grandpa would be there. Even one year I had a friend come. He was just over the night before. Um, but I really miss those. I mean, um, we don't do it. My grandma's passed away since, so we don't really do it as much any. Well, we don't do it anymore. I think we did it maybe one year after that, but um, I miss that. So just getting to see relatives, Jess's parents was awesome, especially during the pandemic. But yeah, it was pretty sweet to see them. And then actually, my dad loves motorcycles. I took a picture of my father-in-law's motorcycle in his garage, and because he has one. And then
oh,
while I was doing, it, I was like, oh, you know what? I haven't been to Aurora in since maybe New Year's Day of 2020. So it's been a long time, and we're already
yeah,
halfway there. So I texted him, "Hey, do you want us to stop by?" So we drove to Aurora. We kind of did a I Jess and I stood in the walkway of the driveway, and my grandpa came out. I haven't seen him since maybe New Year's Day of 2020, which is, or actually
that's
I saw him
awesome.
saw him last summer, but just to see him and my dad for 20 minutes was pretty nice. I'm probably gonna get in shit now from other family that live in the area that were like, "Why didn't you stop in to see me?" But um, I apologize. This time it was already 8:30, and we were gonna get because I texted my mom. She was taking care of my grandpa, so I didn't see my mom on Mother's Day, which is a letdown. But shout out to her and to your mother as well. Happy Mother's
Yep.
Day.
Shout out
Um,
to Jim's mom.
but yeah, that's that was my weekend. It was pretty nice, pretty special considering
That's awesome.
everything. We got this buttermilk. So I'm so picky with food. We ordered or we're on the way there, and Jess's mom says, "How do you guys feel about trying something new?" And whenever I hear that, I'm always like, "Oh no, this is going to be a disaster." But she knows me so well that she knows she wouldn't pick anything outside of what I like. But that doesn't matter. In my head, I'm like, "Oh, this is going to be the worst." I was so hungry. So like, and that's always why I don't like trying new things, because if I don't like it, now I'm just out a meal plus like, whatever the cost of the food is. Um, and this like she wanted to pay anyways, but ended up being really good. It was like buttermilk chicken with some sauce. I'm so bad at this. Some sort of some sort of spicy sauce and with French fries, and I got a Caesar salad. They all got I think garden or Greek salad. But yeah, it was really
Awesome.
yummy. Great day. No cakes. No
That's
no cakes.
no
No
cakes. No
late night
cakes.
cookies. No
Dude,
vodka.
honestly, I we had so much sugar. My body was like at the end of the day.
That's what you should have just like sprinted for 60 meters even just to
Oh, the next day I worked out hard, dude. The next day I was just like, I gotta like burn that off. That was
feel way
ridiculous
better.
amount of sugar. Once in a while, like like Terry wanted cake, and then like
Oh, it's her day.
I always make her pancakes during Mother's Day, so I had to do it anyway.
Yeah, and
So
you
I
know
had to
what?
get the real. I also had to get the real maple syrup, the good kind.
It is Terry's day minus 11:30 to 1 o'clock when Rob is having his annual nap, and then other
Yeah,
than that, she gets
we don't
whatever she
break
wants.
tradition here in this household.
No, yeah, it's a mainstay at this point.
So how's your fitness going, buddy?
Fitness is good. So actually, I got a skipping rope off Amazon when I ordered the mic, and I was supposed to give it a little go to get today, but I didn't. I just actually went for a quick walk around the block before
Yeah.
we did the podcast. But yeah, it's going really well. Yesterday was really intense day for my app. I forget what it was. I had to do 60 of one thing. Like I had to do 10 squats, 10 Superman maybe, and then 10 like side lunges, and then do that 6 times as fast as you can. And then I had to do another set of like side plank reaches on either side, which I actually can do because I'm not putting the weight on my wrist. Um, and then 10 or 12 Superman and 8 jackknives. And by the end of it, I had to do that
Wow.
four times each of each one, and as
I'm
fast as you can.
I'm
and then
sweating while you're talking, while you're telling me all this.
25 squat jumps as fast as you can.
Amazing.
So like I feel great, but I from not doing it for so long, it's beaten me up every time I shift in my chair. Like, oh, yep, I worked out the abs. But I think I said last week, it's the best. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, yeah. That skipping rope is something else, man. I think I might try that out this this weekend because I think Terry's got a skipping rope too, and I don't think I've ever really skipped more than 10 seconds of my life. So
I tried it out. So I opened up the box last night and I tried out, because the only space that we have that's not visible to the public of me just
yeah.
skipping for a couple minutes, but in my backyard or something is in the garage. So I tried it maybe for 10 seconds. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be brutal.
It's bad.
Honestly, I was kind of bored of it right away. So I'm gonna have to do something out there, listen to music for whatever, but I'll have to see what I'm capable of. If I can, go for 5 minutes without dying, or maybe I got to do 3-minute sets or something like that. Our other buddy was saying, I think he mixes it in between his workouts, but
That's
he
right.
does a couple minute sets and then does a different workout and he's back to that. So, I'll
All
have
right.
to, I'll give you an update next week.
That's it. The next week will be the update for our
Skipping update.
skipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right, that's all the time we have for tonight. Jim,
All
take
right,
care,
Robbie.
buddy. We'll see you next week.
And yeah, happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers that are listening.
Yeah. Take care.